introduce Tiffany, or are you gonna introduce her?
You can do it. You can. I like the way you introduce them.
All right, good. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Is Sage real quick? Is Sage on the call as well too, or she can't make it?
I think she is. Well, let me see.
I don't know which one is her, but if she is, just let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna text her real quick and ask her.
Cool, cool, cool. And as well, special guest on the call today. This is an individual that I've been able to, kind of see her content. First off, she's been on these calls multiple times. So she's definitely someone that has taken the time to get this information, cipher it, and been able to actually apply this information. I could tell, by the way she's been able to spit her content back into the universe through her social platforms, through her social medias. This is an individual that's definitely grounded within herself. She's looking to elevate her community, elevate her surroundings. She has a lot of goals and plans that she's going to be implementing. She's getting into her content creation. So after this, make sure you guys definitely go connect with her. This is also an individual that's from NY. So, we got to represent New York, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is a divine individual, a divine feminine individual that is here to actually be on the call with us. And we had the pleasure to have her on the call. So without further ado, man, drop a 111 in the chat for the one and only Tiffany. Tiffany, you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the family as well, and y'all can dive straight into everything.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. As he said, I'm from New York and I do produce content. I see Derek in the chat. I do produce content on TikTok where I like to just spread knowledge on things that I've done to uplift myself on an energetic standpoint and just any other topics, esoteric, occult like topics that I'm into. I like to share that. So if you guys are into that, I'm gonna type my TikTok in the chat and I'll be diving more into different topics, especially on feminine energy, feminine empowerment. I don't know if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, no, y'all could definitely dive into y'all topics today, and get into, everything that you have to go for. If Sage joins, just let me know. We'll bring her up, but you guys can dive into everything.
Okay, cool. So she's gonna join in a couple of minutes. So right now, I'll just start off. Um, Let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay. Can y'all see? Let me see. There you go.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna wait for Sage to join because we have a presentation, and it's really about just like what has recently passed by, like all the moon and what signs it was in, and basically like how we're in alignment with it and how it's been impacting our lives. But until then, I'm just gonna talk about basically some downloads that I've been receiving, and yeah. So as of recently, like what I've noticed is that like right now the timelines are like shifting for people. So right now, like there's this huge consciousness shift amongst the entire planet where people are choosing like, do they really want to continue to live this life that they've been living, which is mundane, like negative, not serving us as a collective, or do we want to step into our power, step into our knowing? And this is all just really aligning with just like the age of Aquarius, which we know we're in already, and just like stepping into our new power as a collective consciousness. So like the golden age is something that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, but this is something that basically this is what we're here for. I mean, everybody who's in alignment with their higher selves and they understand why they're here, why they want to bring more peace into their lives, they're naturally here for that reason, to really fulfill um, that purpose of bringing that golden age back. So yeah, I feel like this new moon was a really interesting time because it was like things were being reflected on my end personally, where I seen just like how I knew what path I chose, but like just some old things that were coming across, and it was just like, no, I'm on this new path. So new moon, new path, that's kind of something that I really focused on personally, like that those 3 days, those 3 nights really where the new moon was on, like I was just focusing on meditating, really getting in tune with my higher self and like really solidifying myself in who I be. So Tiffany, I don't know if you want to speak right now or you want to wait until Sage goes, but if you don't want to speak right now and wait, then I'll just continue going. So let me know.
No, you can keep going. I'll let you
Okay,
know.
so cool. Okay, so right now, like what I've been noticing in terms of the people who are like in alignment with jumping like into a higher timeline of their higher selves, like being in alignment with their true selves, is that a lot of us had to really go into this acceptance, like this fourth dimension, like really like be able to be neutral and be willing to submit to what the signs were showing us. And like some of us, I mean, we better not like the answers that we've heard, but like at the end of the day, it's like if you really choose this path, you know, you got to keep going. So I feel like acceptance was a really big energy as well that I was feeling. And also just seeing people reflect as well. And yeah, in terms of like the chakras, I like this is the best time right now to like really be in tune with like all of your chakras and meditating on them. So like for me personally, I do mantras, and that's something that I really recommend people doing, because when you do a mantra, you're bringing in a vibration and it's like correlating with the intention of why you're doing that mantra, but it's like quite literally altering your frequency of your body, your DNA. So yeah, that's something that's very important, especially if you feel like your egos are being challenged for like this energetic shift, like submitting to it and just like continuing this path. Like the best thing to do is like remind yourself why you're here, like, and this is really what it is to be rooted. So I was going to talk about the chakras, but I don't need the PowerPoint to show that. So the root chakra, the root chakra is to be rooted in your foundation, which is your knowledge, right? So from there moving up comes your sacral chakra, which is where that creativity, that where that wisdom is now like the knowledge applied, which now gives you this ability to think, okay, what am I going to do next? And then after that comes your solar plexus. So your solar plexus is that spark, that's like that divine spark that I would refer it to as, where it's like you have that motivation coming from that solar energy within you telling you you can do this. And then comes your heart chakra. So your heart chakra, to me, that's like the compass of your soul. So being able to trust what your heart is telling you. There's a difference between like the heart telling you something and the head telling you something, and just being able to know the difference is really important. So I really suggest for people that like may have been struggling of that battle between their heart and head coherence, like really sitting with themselves and understanding like, why am I here? Revisiting the lower chakras. Why, like, what is your foundation? Why are you rooted here? Why are you on this plane right now? What did you come from? Reflecting on those things, and then allowing yourself by actually telling yourself, no, I open my vessel up for my higher self to come through me, to like guide me through this. Because that's the thing, when we're doing self-reflection and reflecting on egos and things, it's that internal dialogue battle between what you've been told is right and what you feel is right. And sometimes emotions are created from that outer dialogue, like from people telling you you should feel this way. So just learning to just observe your feelings is something that's really important, and that's something that's also been coming up, a message that's been coming up as well, like in terms of just being the observer. Right now is the best time to just be the observer, allowing these things to come and flow. So like it's really important when you're working with your heart chakra, just allowing it to really guide you. And then comes your throat chakra. So your throat chakra, that's like the physical giving energy, right? When you're speaking, you're sending out vibration, quite literally. That's why I said like mantras are very important, because you're sending out that vibration to your body, right? And everything around you. But in terms of what what the throat chakra is doing, it's literally reflecting your internal world as well. Your thoughts are reflecting your internal world, but your throat chakra is sending out that vibratory thing, idea out into the actual like ether, out into the actual universe. So when you're speaking very, very mindful is something that's also that's been coming up in my downloads. Just being able to understand, like, if I'm saying this, understand what emotion is coming behind it. So like, for example, I hear this sometimes where people are like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's like they'll be like saying like, that's wild, that's dead ass, like something. Remember, when we're speaking these words, we are manifesting something if we're not doing it consciously. So when we think about when we're manifesting something that is mad, right? Remember, the energy is the word mad has a predetermined frequency. It was created to construe this frequency. So when you were talking to somebody and you said mad, it's literally made to create this energy of anger, right? That was what the word originally was for. If people aren't aware in their power, they'll naturally just send that negative frequency. But there can be a person who's aware of their power and say the word mad with the most love behind it, the most highest frequency behind it, and it wouldn't be the same. It's just about knowing when you're saying things and like, where is it coming from? Is it coming from the subconscious programming of like what the world told you it should be, or is it coming from your knowing? And then comes your third eye chakra. So third eye chakra, when you're in the observer state, your third eye is to be able to see, to be able to use your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of what's going on around you as the observer, and understanding, why is this being reflected to me at this present moment? Why am I seeing this at this present moment? Because everything quite literally is a reflection of you. So when we remind ourselves this thing, that everything is reflecting us to ourselves, now we understand, okay, when is something projecting to us? Why is it projecting to us? Because we're being able to now see, and we understand, okay, this may be projecting this to us because right now we just transitioned into a new understanding, and it's challenging our old belief system to our new belief system. And now this is something that we have to overcome. Or I'm seeing this because it's in divine alignment. It's a synchronicity. So like, I understand, like, when you see certain numbers, for example, like angel numbers, we talked about that before, like, being able to be aware in the present moment is to be using your third eye to understand, okay, I'm seeing these angel numbers, these specific letters. This means this specific animal at this present moment, and it's telling me something. And I understand exactly why it's telling me what it's telling me relative to what's going on in my life. And then comes, I said your third eye, and then comes your crown chakra. So the last chakra, which is also known as like the 12th dimension enlightenment, which is the highest form of understanding what love really is. And that's non-duality and up right here, right? So it's being able to see the good and the bad, and being able to say, it's not just good and bad, it just is. So when people are on this path, the thing is, it's like ego comes into the space and says, no, this is good, this is bad. This is good, this is bad. This is high vibrational, this is low vibrational. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's understanding, okay, if you are rooted in your truth, these things won't affect you, whether if it's a negative thing, or if it's something, for example, that is positive, but it's not in the right aspect. So for example, like getting a car, that makes somebody feel good, right? But why is it making them feel good? Is it because they just got this really new car and now they're like feeling fulfilled materialistically? Or, for example, like, it's just understanding, like, when you're in the state of enlightenment, you're not allowing certain things to really control you, the outside control you. You are the controller within. Everything is within. And just allowing yourself to be a vessel that God communicates through, that God comes through. And remember, like, when we're in this presence aspect, now we're in a different we're in a different dimension. We're no longer in the lower dimensions of suffering and fear and all that stuff. So it's like when you see, you're not going to see the same type of people you would see on these lower vibrations. So just being aware is something that's very important. And yeah, that's pretty much that I have for now. So Tiffany, I don't know if you want to say anything, or I keep going if anything.
No, you can just pass it over to Sage.
Okay, is she in there?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. So Sage, yeah, you can start now. Let me just. Okay.
All right, bet. Sage is on the call.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Sorry, guys. I'm at work in the Pacific Northwest. It is 5:30 right now, so kind of juggling a lot right now. Do you want me to go ahead and share my screen? Let's see here. Okay. All right, awesome. Let's see, how do I? Okay, can you guys hear me okay? All right, so this morning when I was meditating, the word thrive came to me. And this word was like really brought to my attention because this word kind of tells me addition and to add to. Let's see. So the definition of this word is to prosper, flourish, grow, and nourish. And to me, thrive is to actively add to your higher self. The goal is to allow self to thrive in our flow state of truth. So this word really speaks to me because when we're talking about adding to ourselves, especially in the spiritual community, we talk a lot about removing parts of ourselves because of shadow work, because of projections, things that were projected onto us from school, from our childhood, growing up. So when we're thriving, I really think it's to add to ourselves, to nourish and to continue to prosper. So Nico, if you want to go ahead and kind of talk about this slide.
Yeah, so hold on. Okay, so right here, we're gonna correlate basically the path of just the 6 developmental strands of like how we are as a being, like how we grow up, and the chakras. So the first phase of existing, growing up, is learning to just be, which is like the age of 0 to like 6 months. So this is like when we're the most observant, honestly. Like little kids are truly sponges because we're trying to like gain our bearings. So number 2 is learning to do, which is between the ages of 6 to 18 months, which is doing. So this is when we're like applying all the knowledge that we just gained and learning, like gaining wisdom, really, and just saying like, okay, if I do this, this happens to me. If I do this, this happens to me. And then stage 3 is learning, which is to think, and that is from the ages of 18 months to 3 years. So thinking is really when we're like now applying our understanding. So number 4 is learning to be powerful and have an identity from 3 to 7 years old. So the power and identity is born between these ages. Number 5 is learning to be skillful and have structure, which is between the ages of 7 and 11, which is when skills and structure is developed. And number 6, which is learning to be independent and secure in your sexual identity, which is between the ages of 11 to 18 years old. And that's when separation and sexuality comes into the play. So in terms of the chakras, the root chakra, just being. So when we're coming, when we're freshly born, when we're new into this realm, right? We are rooted in our truth. We're not programmed to be one way or the other. We know who we are at this moment. Even though we cannot speak what is like perceived to be understandable language, like we actually truly know who we are. And this is when our knowing of self is starting to be challenged as soon as we're born, because now we're coming into the setting. For example, most of us, if not all of us, are usually born in a hospital, and that in itself is already like taking us away from this the natural way a woman should be even giving birth. It's actually making a woman go against like gravity to push out a child. So there's just a whole bunch of things that's just starting from the root that we're being challenged with. And for the sacral chakra, in terms of doing, this is when we're starting to really like embrace our creativity. So it's around like, I would say also just like the older years as well, like we're really starting to like start embracing that creativity aspect, like between the ages of 3 and up. Like you hear like kids are the most creative and like they have such a wild imagination. It's not that they have a wild imagination, it's just that they're really truly in tune with all, endless possibilities of what could be, so they're just expressing that. And number 4, in terms of like the power and identity, no, I mean number 3, in terms of thinking, like with the solar plexus chakra, like when you're thinking, and in terms of like the solar plexus, that's like that's the divine spark, right? Like the thing to start the new cycle, like that's giving you the motivation. So when it comes to like thinking for ourselves, this is creating the motivation for our true, like our existence. So we start to create egos at around these ages when we're starting to think for ourselves and really make these decisions based upon how we want to experience things. And then in terms of power and identity, between the ages of 3 and 7, like the heart chakra, your heart chakra is infinitely powerful. When you're operating with divine love, you're operating in the understanding aspect of understanding like what you are, who you are relative to everything in existence. So when you're doing things from your heart space, you have this divine power. And like when it also creates your identity as well, because some people can actually get their heart chakra closed by getting hurt and not allowing these lessons to actually teach them, and actually they become the victim of the lesson. So it could be either or, where you know your power and you can just keep sending out love, or closing up your heart chakra around this time, creating this identity of victim mentality between the ages of 3 and 7 and so forth. In terms of your throat chakra and skills and structure, when I think of skills, I think of expression. So like, again, the throat chakra is like a really big chakra with expression, just being able to actually manifest with your sending out vibrations with your words, with sound. So like when it comes down to creating that structure, your words do quite literally do create your reality, because that belief behind that word, that understanding behind that word is structuring your life. For third eye chakra and separation and sexuality. Sexuality is also part of the root chakra as well, like being able to have the control over that. But like in terms of the third eye, like being able to just see, like know who you are, but like being able to see as well everything relative to yourself. So when I think of separation, like separation is the ego. So being able to be in tune with your third eye chakra, being able to see now the ego doesn't truly exist. Separation doesn't truly exist. Yeah, it might be something quote unquote outside of me, like I can physically go touch it, but that's still me. And in terms of sexuality, I feel like this is something that's like can be used, like your third eye chakra, to be able to prevent you from going through certain things on a sexual level, and like feeling maybe, for example, like if you've been like a victim of something to have like happen to you on a sexual level, like being able to be in tune with your true self, you understand you are not those things that happen to you, or you are not those things that people tell you you are in terms of sexuality, or like just anything else, for example, like, you know who you are. When you're in tune with your third eye, you're able to actually see things for what it really is. So you know when a person is projecting, you know when all these things are challenging, and you move on from that. And when you move on from that, like, this is when they talk about we are gods. Like, some people feel like, oh, when we are a god, they kind of take that as ego. Well, some people actually come from an ego aspect of that, like, nah, I'm a god, I'm better than you. Nah, that's not the case. When you understand that you are God, that is to be in your crown chakra, like balance between all chakras, but like also like that consciousness being in your crown chakra and above, because it's understanding when you're that, when you have that divine connection, understanding that quite literally you are me and that is your reflection, like peace reflection to everything. You understand how to act, you understand how to think, you understand how to do all these things. So you're in the power of what is known to be God, because God creates, destroys, and sustains. That is to be knowing that they are God, that is acting just like that. So that's what I would say the crown chakra really is, and correlate those chakras with that. That's pretty much it. Okay, so let me just. Okay, so the word is thrive. Today's the theme is thriving. So like the new moon, we're gonna talk
Wait,
about that as
Nicolette?
well.
Just to chime in real quick. So I wanted to say something about our call that we had earlier. And speaking on thriving, thrive to me means being out of survival mode. So coming out of the root chakra and building upon, so like sacral chakra and above. And basically, what was I gonna say? Relax. Oh, so when we're in that God consciousness, because you said that when you're in that state, it's easier to create things. So that was just the connection that I wanted to associate with thriving and being in tune with your highest self.
Yeah, exactly. So like when we're in this state of thriving, when we understand what thriving really is, which is, for example, to try your best to be healthy, relate well, get involved, live your values, enjoy positive emotions. These things is acting in your knowingness, acting in your power to understand that you are God. You are creating your reality. You are destroying things in your reality, and you're also choosing to sustain things in your reality. But when you have this power, thriving to me is like bringing the fruit of life, like bringing life into your life. Like you said, it's no longer in that state of survival. State of survival is when you're in that fear or fight or flight, fear or flight. Is it? No, fight or flight state. You're in that state of consciousness of, I need to either fight for my existence or I need to run for my existence so I could keep on going. But when you're in the state of knowing who you be and how powerful you truly are, you are now in the state of thriving, which is like known to be the, like what people will say, the kingdom of God, Christ consciousness, you know, other things. You can use so many different words because different people say different things for the same thing. But that's what when I think of thrive, these are the things that I think of. Just being in your true power, and also remembering that because you are connected to everything, because God is the source of everything in existence, visible and invisible, that you do things, you take action with the greater good of all in mind. Because you understand, if I hurt somebody else for my own personal gain, I'm hurting myself. And why would I want to do that? That's pretty much it. If you guys want to build upon this slide, you can keep going.
Okay, thank you so much, Nico. Based on the last slide, I kind of liked how the breakdown was from 0 months to 18 years and more. It kind of like shows me how once we start this spiritual journey, we have to like go back to the basics and start treating ourselves like a baby again. And we, all three of us kind of joked earlier how when we started the spiritual journey, we jumped straight to the third eye, straight to the higher chakras. And when you do that, you kind of experience spiritual warfare, you experience a loss of true self. So when you kind of break down and you start at the root chakra and work your way back up, I think it's the healthy way to learn yourself and go about this. So, and to me, this breakdown of thrive, T, try your best, H, be healthy, R, relate well to others in the community, I, get involved, B, live by your values, and E, enjoy the positive moments. I think this is a breakdown of how to like live a healthy life and be true to yourself. And I know Nico talked about this one for about 20 minutes or so, but if you have anything else you want to add to it, feel free.
I mean, yeah, so like I'll correlate thriving, right? Thriving in terms of like what state of dimension that you're really thinking in. That's over here. Like, so I don't know if you guys can really read it. It might be a little blurry, but here it says associated emotional state right next to the energetic frequency. So it says ineffable, right? And like that's thriving if you think about it, like to ineffable, like nothing can really mess with you. So and then your view of life is just everything just is. So now you're able, like Sage said, like when you just go straight to the third eye, you start to actually, if you don't root yourself, if you don't go through the chakras properly, you actually start to experience which is like spiritual warfare for real. And like, I mean, when you're not conscious and you're going through like old patterns, like generational trauma, stuff like that, you're naturally experiencing spiritual warfare. But like also like when you're just going straight to the power aspect of just wanting to see things, like sometimes people, because they're not rooted in their truth, they actually kind of go like crazy. Like I don't even want to use that word, but like that's what people perceive to be crazy, because they're now seeing something as too much. Like they're actually seeing, they can see the evil things, the negative things, the lower vibrational beings, but now they're not rooted in themselves. So like it's like they actually start to like be engulfed by it in a state of fear, being actually in the panic mode because it's like something too much for them. And then key to transcending to the next level. So it says disappearance of material desires, purpose is effortlessly supported. So this is really just what thriving really is all about. Like when you think of thriving, it's not, because when people think of success, right? Success is something that also like kind of tie into thriving, right? That's something like a synonym. So when people think of success, they think, oh, this person is successful or thriving because they have all these like things. They have this couple nice houses, they have all this land, they have all these cars, they have all these clothes, whatever it is that they think that a person might be thriving because they have all these things. But truth be told, those people are actually the most miserable people or something. Like they always feel like they're chasing for something new, always trying to have something for fulfillment outside of themselves. So like what thriving truly is to be just in tune with your higher self, to understand you don't need any of these physical things to make you happy. Yes, because you are God and you manifest and you create your reality through the power of your thoughts, you can bring these things into your reality, but it's not something that you need in order to feel happy. It's not something that you need to in order to feel peaceful. So like another thing too, like when people are saying like, oh, I need a vacation to feel good right now, to like escape the depression, you don't need to bring the peace, you don't need to go somewhere else to bring the peace to yourself. You have to go within yourself to bring the peace to yourself. And that's really what thriving really makes me think of. And then in terms of what we experience, synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes. So in terms of just like being able to see the synchronicities, like once you start seeing the synchronicities and like you're in alignment, like I'm telling you, things flow in a way where it's like people think you're thriving. Like people really see like, oh no, that person's doing a thing. Like things just seem to work out for them. Things just seem to be flowing for them. That's really what thriving is. But they're just trusting the synchronicities to really show them like, no, I'm on the right path. And these extraordinary outcomes are just happening because they're submitting to the right path for them. In terms of state of consciousness, so there's a couple of different ones, but like the top one right here, pure consciousness, enlightenment, over mind, illuminated mind. Those are like all one. which is why it's under the location of heaven. So heaven is a mind state, quite literally. You bring the peace to yourself. You don't need anything outside of yourself to feel that. And once you realize that, you don't need anything outside of yourself to feel peace, to know your power, to just be in the state of just knowing and experiencing divine love. Like everything else, that's literally thriving. You no longer are in that state, like I said earlier, in that fear state, that fight or flight state. So that's what is perceived to be hell. When we're in those lower dimensions of like thoughts, thinking. So it's quite literally like we're to the point where you're now thriving. But that's pretty much it.
That was really awesome breakdown. So tying this back in, for you to thrive, you have to be thriving towards something. So this is one of my favorite books, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I like this book a lot, and I reference it back when I feel like I can brush up on one of the laws. There's quite a few, and today I realized I cannot put 7 laws in 7 slides. So we'll probably go over it maybe sometime in the near future. But the one I really want to speak on was the law of pure potentiality. The other 6 is the law of giving and receiving, the law of karma, which is cause and effect, the law of least effort, the law of intention and desire, the law of detachment, and the law of purpose in life. So I really want to go over this one because when you think about thriving, you have to first know yourself. So in the law of potentiality, one way or the way to know yourself is through silence. And through silence, you understand pure awareness. And through pure awareness, you're acting on stillness. So between the two, but the way to be true to yourself is through self-approval and recognizing where you're searching for external approval. So self-approval would be using your own intuition as your reference point. This means that you're not asking other people outside of yourself or seeking for answers outside of yourself. I really believe in asking your friends and asking family and whatnot. But when it comes to a place of indecisiveness and not being able to act on your own life based off of what you think is right or wrong, I think that would be external approval. Another one of self-approval would be this would align to self-trust. The end result to self-approval would be peace of mind, seeing yourself in everyone and everything, which would result in becoming a magnet rather than chasing. You would be attracting because of the support from the law of nature, infinite power. And when somebody masters the law of potentiality, this person will be living in a state of true happiness. But what we see in our friends and family and society is that people operate from a place of external approval. This looks like influenced by objects outside of self, like buying that house, buying that car, buying whatever clothing and items make your person look good. So adding to self, this will make somebody feel like it's never enough. They're always going to have to continue to add on to themselves. This type of thinking is ego-based and it's a mask. Somebody who puts this type of mask on usually wears this mask because at some point in their life, when they were true to themselves, they were belittled, maybe banished, maybe felt like me showing my true colors is not good enough for the society and the environment I'm in. So this person would result in living in a state of fear and continuing to chase this ego and continuing to chase whatever puts them on their external or their external body to kind of feed this mask. So the other ones I want to go on about, but probably we'll talk about later, is giving and receiving. This looks like whatever you put out, you will get back, the law, which ties into the law of karma here, which we will probably talk about in the near future. the law of least effort. Briefly, the law of least effort looks like kind of like the law of assumption, where you actually do not have to go chase that thing that you want, because if you pause and stop chasing it and you raise your vibration, it's actually going to start attracting itself to you. The law of intent and desire, this looks like telling the universe, putting it out there what you want, and then detaching yourself from it. Because once you actually detach, then that thing can begin to attract itself to you. Because what happens when we constantly chase, kind of like the hustler mindset we have in society, where we're go-getters, we just keep chasing money and whatnot. At some point, this is going to cause resistance. And when you're chasing and not attracting, there's resistance. And that's why people see delays in the things that they seek. And the last one would be the law of purpose of life.
Also, I just want to say something really quick in terms of what you just said about chasing money. I hear this a lot. I've seen this a lot where like people are like, "Oh, I'm chasing the bag, get to the money," you know. But when you think about chasing, right? Like, actually think about what is chasing. Something is running away from them. So they're literally saying like the bag is running away from them, the money is running away from them. So it's just really interesting to see like how words really do play a factor into like how we think and act when we're not aware.
Feel free, just let me know when you want me to skip and whatnot, but turning it over. Thank you.
So before I even get into my slides, I just wanted to touch on when we were talking about the root chakra. So I can't stress how important it is to like balance out our root chakra and start with our root chakra, because like we said earlier, I was more interested in things like the sacral chakra and the solar plexus third eye. And basically like not starting with the root chakra is equivalent to building a house starting from the second floor. Like it sounds insane. You have to get your foundation right, because if it's not stable, like anything outside of you could knock you down. Like if somebody says something to you that you may not like, it could trigger you. Or I was in a situation last year where something happened to me and it felt like I got knocked off my throne, like knocked off my power, and I had to restabilize my root chakra, and I'm still working through that. And something that I would recommend is to actually write out all of your earliest programming in your life, like everything that your earliest memories within your life, everything that you've been through, because the root chakra is associated to our feet. So think of all the places that you've walked within your life. That creates like an ambiance around you, and it's programming your reality, especially from ages 0 to 7. So all the places, write out all the places or things that you've experienced in your life from the ages of 0 to 7, because now in your adult life, it is a reflection of everything that you experienced from those ages. And it's also like, and that doesn't mean that we're stuck within that subconscious programming, because if you want to change it, you can change it. Like placing ourselves in place ourselves in environments that are aligned with our spirit. So like, let's say me, I'm into content creation or modeling. So I look on Eventbrite and I look up like modeling things and placing myself in those rooms. That's a good way for me to like reverse my old programmings that I'm not aligned with anymore. If you want more financial prosperity, place yourself in rooms that are luxurious. Like that, all of that creates an ambiance, because it's all energy. You get in that energy and you align with it better. So that's just something I had to say there. But I'm gonna get into my slides now. Can you pull it up? Sorry.
Let me see if Sarah's, is she still on the call?
Oh no,
Let me
she
see.
leave?
Let me see. Oh, here
Sorry.
she.
Okay. Oop.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why this is. Oh, Okay, give me one moment.
Also, to tie onto what you just said, what you ended with in terms of placing yourself in the rooms, like the spaces, like that is the perfect thing to start visualizing yourself experiencing this as well. And you can also, if you feel like, if you can't like actually physically in that moment, like get there to where you want to be, start doing it in your mind's eye when you're in meditation. Start envisioning yourself in that as well. So like start envisioning yourself doing certain actions that align with your true self, that align with your higher self. And also like Tiffany said, also getting yourself in alignment physically will also help that transition as well.
Okay, so I wanted to do something a little different today where we as a unit consciously connect and align ourselves with the energy of the moon. So this past Sunday, there was a new moon in Gemini, and new moons represent the beginning of a lunar cycle where the moon is not visible in the sky. So I'm sure we're not new to this information that we're all connected, we're all one, and we're all a part of nature. So anything that is going up in the cosmos is being reflected down here. And as it was a dark moon, as a collective, we were being called to rest, retreat, and go inward. Basically, to reflect on things that we may have experienced weeks prior during the previous lunar cycle and identify anything that we may have been up to that's worked for us or hasn't been working for us. So, being that the new moon was in Gemini, Gemini is an air sign in astrology, which is ruled by the planet Mercury. So, some key concepts related to the energy of Gemini are communication, socialization, wits and learning new information, quick thinking, multitasking, technology, and short distance travel. How do I mute? Like, my phone? I don't know if y'all can hear that. I'm sorry, but I'm so sorry. Let me mute that. Okay, so this is a time where we're more receptive to learning new information. Why is it doing that? I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. So basically what I was saying is this is a time where we're more receptive to learning new information, and it's good for us to connect with like-minded individuals and to be active within a community. So this is a great example of that energy right now, and engage in collaborative projects and with others. So we can align ourselves with the energy of the new moon by reflecting on our routines and the people we have been connecting with lately. Also, by utilizing the energy of air, because Gemini is the air sign, through sound and music, whether that's listening to different frequencies that can be healing or uplifting to us, or listening to subliminals or affirmations overnight. So, listening to subliminals and affirmations overnight while we're asleep is great to help reprogram our subconscious mind, because as we're sleeping, we're in a state of non resistance for hours. So something that I've actually been doing for the past month is creating affirmations, like personalized affirmations for myself through the Voice Memos app. And I listen to it before I go to bed and as I'm waking up, because those are great times where we're more receptive to the subconscious downloads. And this is beneficial for us in terms of exercising our throat chakra and speaking, which is air energy, things into existence. And as we're listening to these affirmations that we created ourselves, this creates a better impression on our subconscious mind because we're listening to the sound of our own voice. So since it's been a couple days now since the new moon, we're currently in a waxing crescent phase of the lunar cycle. So we could channel upon this energy by allowing God or the universe to illuminate anything that we would like to manifest into our lives, because now we can see the moon. It's illuminated a bit in the sky a bit. So getting clear on our visions and setting intentions for them. You can go to the next page. But since like the new moon did pass, I do have some reflection questions for us. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but y'all could go to the next page now.
I can hear you. Let me see. I don't know. Say cheers.
But as they're pulling it up, I'll just ask the question. So, what is something within our daily habits that we've been working on? Or, no, what is something within our daily habits that have been working for us? And how is this serving us? And on the opposite end of that, what is something within our daily habits that have not been working for us? And how can we replace it with something better? My second question is there an equal give and take between the top 3 people that you speak to on a regular basis? And if not, this would be a good, like, I would recommend just retracting your energy from those people. But if so, then that's actually really good. My third question is, what is something or a new venture that you've been thinking about lately, air energy, Gemini energy, and that you would like to learn more on? So you could take this time to do more research on it before taking action into it. And what does it look like to communicate how you feel, free of any filters or worries of anyone else's perception? And my last question is, what conversation can you have that would feel very healing for you? So with whom, and what would you like to say to them, and what would you like to hear back? So it can be to anybody. It can be to yourself. It can be to a friend, a lover, God, the universe, whoever. What is a conversation that you feel like you just need to get out your chest? And then since they don't have the slides up, I had another slide where it's just basically saying power prep for our manifestation. So these are some tips that I would recommend, is basically to list out 10 goals that you have for this upcoming month and list out a few intentions that you have for those manifestations. Name one thing that is no longer serving you and write a brief letter to that to let it go. And how can you shift your routine to make these goals achievable? So it's important to note that since the new moon just passed, like, and that's a time of rest, and now it's starting to be illuminated, it's important, like, you don't need to necessarily take action on anything just yet. So still take this time to just plan, look into the things that you want. If it's a new business idea or a creative project, do more research on it. Like, you don't have to respect your vessel and just honor like the phases of nature. Like, you don't have to go too hard. Just take your time and plan. And y'all could go to slide 20. The next one. And basically, so today is actually Wednesday, and Wednesday is ruled by the planet Mercury in astrology. So this would be a good time for us to just tidy up our space, specifically in regards to our technological devices. So clearing up any emails, like pillages of emails and messages. If you have too many tabs open on your phone, clear that out. Clear out your search engines. Even on Instagram, whoever you've been searching up, clear that up. Just let go of all of that old energy. If you have screenshots that you don't really look at a lot, like it's just useless, I would recommend deleting it. Or any apps that you have within your phone that you don't really use, just delete the apps just to clear out space. Another tip that I have is to create a vision board. So this is good for our manifestations because it can help bring it in faster. So you can use Canva and make a collage and have it somewhere where you can look at it frequently. So either make it as your wallpaper, or you can print it out and have it on your wall, or print it out and cut it up and actually paste it on an actual board, because that's really beneficial to create something tangible, because it'll help bring in your manifestations faster. And it also puts you in a state where like you're excited, you're looking at it and it's like, oh my gosh, like I want this. And feelings help boost up your manifestations. And lastly, just remember to slow down and prioritize rest, because we're honoring the cycle of the moon. So we're still not in a place where we have to take action just yet. Just slow down and plan. And that's all I have for y'all. Thank you.
Bet. Did Nicolette
Okay,
or
and then can you hear me?
yeah, yep.
All right, awesome. And then in conclusion, I would just have you guys take home a question. Where in your mind, soul, or body can you thrive to reach a higher consciousness? And then you can apply this question to anywhere in your life that you think can can have some improvement, or even in your mental where you think that you can thrive to be better. And that will be all for us. Thank you so much.
Let's get it. If y'all got some value today, man, make sure y'all drop the 777s in the chat box. Like, y'all went crazy. I ain't even gonna lie, y'all went crazy. The presentation was amazing. Um, very well put together, unique, colorful, everything. Like everything. Like really gotta clap it up in the chat for real. Like that was definitely elite, not gonna lie. But yeah, if y'all definitely enjoyed today's call, make sure you guys definitely you know leave with this information and actually apply it. I think that would be the most powerful thing you can do. Like take this information, take those questions and actually write it down, do some meditation, reflecting on them, and actually do the shadow work to actually answer these questions. I think that's the number one thing that you can do to actually show that this call actually was appreciative and show that this call actually meant something for you to transcend your life ultimately. But without further ado, each of you guys share your social medias so everybody can actually connect with you guys. Because I don't know if I have each and every one of you on all your socials.
I'll
Um,
type it in the chat.
yeah, I know I have Nicolette. I think I have Sage. But yeah, definitely each of you guys share your socials. Everybody in the chat, if you guys got some sauce, make sure you guys go follow Tiffany, follow Nicolette, and follow Sage on their social medias. I think Sage might have left, but we'll get her social media out there to you guys. We'll add her and everything like that. Um, but definitely go connect with them, show some love. If you guys definitely enjoyed this call, and if y'all want them back on another call again to do something like this again, definitely show some love, get them some followers, and repost their content and everything. I appreciate everybody for taking the time. Make sure you guys definitely take care of yourselves. The more y'all take care of yourselves, y'all take care of me because we are one. This recording is going to be in the Discord under the Mindset Live Zooms. So you guys can definitely catch it there. Without further ado, I'm going to see you guys from the top or at the top. The only time we ever look down, so I bring you guys up. If you guys are looking for us, you guys can find us at the beach or you guys can find us at the bank. Let's get it.